I guess we better start over. It's May 2nd, 2016. Hello, welcome to the WINGIT call. I normally start that with chew tobacco spit, but I forgot. And I'll do it again. Thank everybody that donated to Oki, including the people over there at TNT. Thank you, Ray, for mentioning it, and it worked out well. Oki has received everything. The account as of today is empty. We emptied it out and sent it to him. All receipts have been, I've taken a screenshot of everything and have been sent to the appropriate people so that everybody knows we're above board here. And if you did donate, you always received a reply. Thank you for your donation. I'm not sure if a box was always there so that you could put in for Oki, but it all went to Oki. Everything that came in, the bills have been paid for. They're not due again on my part until the middle of this month if we're here. So everything went to him. Thank you. Shut up. Quiet. This is a bark-free zone. Quiet. Waiting for Rockstar to come in here. I think he's MIA for right now. We'll go to questions here. Actually, I'm sorry. Art, come on down. Oh, wait.
Come on
First things first. Hold on. First things first. I forgot Pastor's not here, so got to do a redneck witness. Lord, please bless everybody that's listening. Give them an understanding heart to understand what we're talking about, to understand that the blessing that is coming down, what to do with it, listen, and protect everybody. And that's about it. Amen. Go ahead, Art.
Amen. Amen. Well, I was going to say hi to Pastor and to you and to Rockstar, so at least you got it. The others aren't here yet. And
oh yeah, and I forgot to do the disclaimer on the recorded part. We're not attorneys, financial accountants, CPAs. This is just our opinion from the trust call to the trust things that we talk about. There's a lot of issues out there, so I just wanted to throw that out there. So, all right, Art, go ahead.
All righty. Well, I don't have a lot really, except we all thought yesterday, we were told, and we all hung on the theory that we will get the 800 numbers yesterday. Well, you're having another call. I guess that means we didn't get them. Nobody seems to know exactly why, at least I don't, and people I've talked to don't know why, but things are happening behind the scenes, I understand, but I'm not sure that has anything to do with the 800 numbers, so I don't know. Kind of perplexing when they keep telling you these things are going to happen and they don't. But we just hang in there one more day and, until it happens. So I wish there was a lot of, well, there really is no more new. I mean, there's no more rumor tell. Just everything's done, and they announced all this in Iraq as far as we know, and so we're just hanging on, waiting on those numbers to come. That's it, really. So wish I had a whole bunch of info, but I don't.
Well, I've been sick for the last 2.5 days, so I've been kind of out of pocket. Has anything? I'm asking this for myself, and I guess all the listeners. Since they stormed the green zone, what has transpired from that, Art? I haven't even had a chance to read anything you've sent me. Any updates on that?
Listen to Ray on his noon call, and he talked about it, that they did storm it. Malachi and his goons, or who did it, and just to cause a bunch of problems for a body, and they understand they finally left, and nobody got killed, and somebody said they were hunting for Malachi. They were looking for him. They wanted to drag him out of there, take care of the situation. So I don't know. I mean, that's just what I heard, and I haven't read anything more about it, and they're certainly not what we want happening over there, but I understand the RV was announced over there by Jack Lew the other day, and he did his thing he was supposed to do. And I understand, I think they said Mr. Biden is back with some kind of signed papers of something for something, and not sure what exactly. And but everything supposedly is done over there. So, and nothing in the green zone is affecting what we're looking for. That's what's perplexing when you hear that we're going to get these numbers yesterday, and we didn't get them. And I'm sure those who told us yesterday we're going to get them don't know either why we didn't get them, or if they do, they've not told us yet. Let's put it that way. So I know everybody gets on these calls for some great news, and every day hoping and that this is the day, and it still may be. The day's only about half over, so we got another eight and a half hours till the stroke of midnight, Central Time at least, and so who knows? Something may still happen, but. Just late on the news. Anybody I've contacted said they just weren't getting anything, and everything is just very late on the news today. So that's all I can report, really. I don't want to make nothing up because that wouldn't do any good, would it?
No, that's been done quite a bit over the ages from different people.
Yeah, right. And your
I
dog
just
tried to say something a while ago.
Yeah. I moved the computer, everything from one portion of the house to the other side. Spend most of the morning doing that, getting new speakers, computer speakers, and had a string of new cables. So I've been kind of out of pocket. And when I got back, well, they felt neglected, and they've been acting up ever since.
Oh well.
So
that's it for me.
See.
You say you got a text or email or something?
No. Let me go over here to questions. It's going to be, and this is a directive from the web mistresses that I'm to go in order and not jump around, or I could lose something if I don't go in order, so I have to go in order today. Not that I want to, because I see some good questions down there. So we're going in order today. Hope everybody got that. Question number 1, are we still exchanging as an internet group first and then exchanging the public? As far as I know. Question 2, if I go over the 1,400K gift limits, will I be taxed as well as recipient? For example, gift $1 million, what are the tax implications? Well, I know if you go over the 14K, they'll have to pay the difference, not you. As for the other question, I don't know. Number 3.
I was going to say maybe I can help you on that one. What was the other question?
For example, if I gift $1 million, what are the tax implications?
Yeah, you're right. On anything over 14,000, they have to pay the tax. We don't. They do.
Right.
Yeah.
I was hoping that, because pretty soon the questions are going to come up and they're for Rockstar. I do not see him just yet. I sent him a text. Question 3. Questions about the Wells Fargo Trust. Is it revocable or irrevocable? Nobody knows just yet. Is the term fixed or set by structured payout term? They're keeping everything about the skeleton trust close to the vest. And are they the trustee and us the beneficiary? Still not sure. I have gift letters for my 3 adult children. Would it be better to exchange their currency myself into a trust and let them take a salary and then have them exchange themselves? Let's see. Would it be better to exchange their currency myself into a trust and let them take a salary than have them exchange themselves? Well, if they don't have a trust, I would say exchange it yourself, make them a beneficiary. And if you don't like that option, there's another one. You can set up another trust, for them, and then you can endow that trust from yours to theirs, and that's perfectly legal.
That's really the best way to do that. And if they want them to have the money without doing a gifting. If they gift them, then they've got to pay the tax. Whereas the other way, they won't have to pay the tax if they leave it in the corpus of the trust. So
they have not followed as closely as I have. I gifted them each 2 zim plus dinars, so it will be a substantial exchange for them. Question number 4. Jerry, I just received an email from a trusted friend that stated the exchange will be fiat to fiat. We've heard that? Yes. So far, the answer is yes. If the currency in-house is already gold backed, then what? Well, I'm not sure. P.S. Love your redneck accent. MM22. Thank you. Hug a redneck. Hug a redneck. That was question 4. Let us see. Still no rock star. Question number 5. Jerry. Oh, let me read this. This is not question 5. We're still coming. We're going to go back to question number 2. If you gift $1 million, you are using up some of your lifetime gift allowance, and I think that is $5 million. Send me a text to correct me if I'm wrong. The first 14,000 doesn't count towards the allowance.
That's correct.
Is it over $5 million?
It's about $5 million for one person. If you're married and have a spouse, you double that amount as lifetime gifting.
Okay. Well, there we go. No need to respond. Now, back to question number 5. Jerry, do you believe that the dominoes must fall, that being other nations, to fiscally collapse to create a no other choice scenario for the RV to rescue the global economy? Well, it seems like that, but I would say no. I'm not sure. I mean, you hear about everything, you're reading everything, but if we would just have if they would give me a little bit higher pay grade or security clearance, I might be able to answer that, but at this point, I don't know. There's a lot of I don't know because it's questions I just can't answer. Number 6. Jerry, did anybody verify that exchanges have or are taking place in Europe? Well, I did talk to 2 people that said they had family that did exchange. Here's Jerry, did anybody verify? Well, yes and no. Have I seen the receipts? No. Now there's more to this. There's a second part of this, or was that chew tobacco bullspit? LOL, LOL, LOL. I thought that was funny. Number 7. Thanks in advance, Jerry, and help. The IMF gave Iraq a June deadline to take care of business. Do you recall if it was by June 1st date or later part of June? Thank you. I'll read that in a minute. Well, I haven't seen anything in ink print, Do you recall if it's by June 1st date or the latter part of June? Now, when we heard that they had to have a tradable currency 90 days prior to June 1st, way back when. And then they had moved that date to June 30th. I haven't heard or seen anything about that since then, and about the deadline, I don't know. Could that be part of it? There's a great possibility. But I'm hoping it goes off what we're looking for before then. That was question number 7. So if we do fiat to fiat in the beginning and our exchanges, it's all okay. It's all going to be okay. We've had a discussion about this before, and we'll go over it again. Wait a minute, let me put my pointer here so I don't miss my question where we're at. So we do fiat to fiat. Not a problem. Because whatever you have in the bank at the time, when it goes gold back, it's going to go 1 for 1, and it's going to all be covered with a backing of asset or gold, whatever term you want to choose. There isn't going to be a global collapse. It's the opposite. This is going to improve everybody. You got to remember, the cabal is still in control of the mainstream media, or so some people call it, the lamestream media. Can I prove this next statement? No, but I trust where it's coming from. 500,000 have exchanged already. The IMF is a non-factor. People are probably jumping, bull. You know, look at what they do. Well, the IMF is part of the UN, and you've seen a lot of stuff out there of who's in charge of the UN now. Can I say that last text you sent me over the air? Yeah, I think I can. The BRICS countries and the AIIB are the controlling force of the GCR-RV. The USA went gold back over the weekend, but I still believe it's going to be a fiat exchange. Okay. Let us go on. Wait a minute. Check one thing here. Slow computer. Even when I moved, it's still slow. Still out. Okay. So that was 7. We need to go to question 8. Do you think we'll have a choice of getting debit cards instead of credit cards? Will the percentage we get up front be protected by the skeleton trust? Hey, Art, can you mute on your end? Just mute your phone. You know, when we're this high up in the nosebleed in money, why get a debit card? Just get a credit card. That way, if there's something on there that you don't like, you can dispute it. I'm pretty sure they're going to help you out to make sure there's no issues. Will the percentage we get up front be protected by the skeleton trust? I believe so. Uh-oh, wait a minute. Oh, I was just told no fiat, no fiat. So I guess when we go in, it's going to be gold backing. Now the prices, I'm not doing dates or rates, so don't even ask. What is an S Corp and how does it operate? Don't know, never had one. Rockstar was here, he could answer that. That was question 9, sorry.
Rockstar is here.
Ah, Rockstar, what is an S Corp and how does it operate?
An S Corp is, God, it's been a while.
I can help you.
Oh yeah, by all means, go ahead, because I'm going to fumble for like 5 minutes until my fried brain gets back into it.
You start off with a C Corp. A C Corp is a full corporation. An S Corp is a step down from that before you get to an LLC. It's just a change in the liability from a C Corp to an S Corp. The liability changes. It's pretty much the basic without getting into a lot of legal details, and I'm not a lawyer, so I don't want to do that. So.
Yeah, I remember I always went with S Corps for my construction services companies because they were easier to administrate. Not as much paperwork, not as much tax complications, etc. So that's
yeah, and you don't have to turn in the board reports and all that stuff at the end of the year.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, it was basically a small guy's C Corp. That's what it was.
Exactly.
Okay, so that was question number 9. Question 10. Rockstar, are you still leaving for Australia to deliver that boat?
No, I lost my berth.
Okay.
Thursday afternoon. So.
Question 11. Looking for evidence. Several sources say exchange centers are ready. Has anyone actually have concrete proof of it? We hear banks have been ready, trained and manned for 3 years, huge expenses for no results. Some credible first-hand info appreciated. From my part, I have none of that. So my answer is nope. Can't add any credence to that at all.
My answer is we do know one person working at an exchange center for a particular bank who has given us reports, regular reports that have turned out to be verifiable when they've been called in, when they've been asked to man the exchange center overnight, when they've been on 1-hour standbys, and when they've been able to see the rates on the screens but not talk about the rates because they would get fired, period, and get into a mess of trouble. So some of it's true and some of it isn't, but I've never heard, I don't know anybody directly who has actually gotten an SKR, an extended SKR, and certainly not an exchange, because it's my understanding that we can't exchange, they can't legally exchange currency until the currency is revalued. Therefore, all of these private exchanges are basically uncollateralized loans to people based on the expected value of the currency.
Thank you. Question 12. I don't really have any problem with the structured payouts because I think that you have already explained this topic pretty well. However, I'm a bit confused as to why Dizzy Bear keeps saying that he will receive close to 1-to-1 parity on when we exchange and that there will be no structured payouts. He says the high rates, except on the Zim, will not be available as those rates were only if we exchange into fiat. And has repeatedly said that even though we will be exchanging and our money will be deposited into a special account. Let me back up here. He says the high rates except in the Zim will not be available as those rates will only be if we exchange into fiat. End of that sentence. Yet Mr. X has repeatedly said that even though we will be exchanging and our money will be deposited into a special account designated as gold back, and that the high rates are available for those who would show good cause that need to be able to access such funds in order to do large projects. Let me read that again. And I'm going to add not Mr. X, My little round Mexican buddy has repeatedly said that even though we will be exchanging our money and will be deposited in a special account designated as gold back, and that the high rates are available for those who show good cause to need to be able to access such funds in order to do large projects. Can someone please explain the reason for this very different understanding of what we should expect as far as the exchange rates, 1-to-1 or possibly of nosebleed rates? That's a long paragraph. Heiko?
Can I? Yeah. First of all, Dizzy has now made himself available on Nancy's evening call. I think if you've got questions for Dizzy, you should ask him direct. Dizzy has a particular philosophy on this whole thing, and it makes a lot of sense. There are others out there who have a different philosophy. Yeah.
Heiko, hold on just a second. Will somebody put up Nancy's number and PIN code in rolling chat, and I'll read it on air for this person? If somebody could do that. Thank you. Sorry about that, Heiko. Go ahead.
That's okay. That's okay. I think the important thing to realize, or the important thing to remember here is that both camps right now are valid. We don't know what's going to happen until we get into the exchange room. They could change everything this afternoon because of the bond market fiasco. So what we need to know, we need to be prepared for either scenario, or, as I think, a hybrid scenario. And you're not going to know until you get in there, or you're not going to know until, if you're lucky, they're going to give out the 800 numbers, and there's going to be a flurry of calls and activities and chat rooms and all this other stuff, speculating what to expect when you get in there. But the bottom line is you need to be able to think on your feet. And hopefully you've been listening to all the information that's come out on all these phone calls and in all these chat rooms. And you've got a good idea of the different things you can expect. And you've got a plan for each one. If you haven't, if you've just been in this for the rate and date, you're going to be in big trouble when you get in that room. So there you go. That's my opinion on that one. But seriously, go on to Nancy's phone call, ask Dizzy questions. He's very forthcoming. He's very good at explaining what he thinks is going on. You'll get a real clear picture from him. That's my place.
Now here is the access code and number for the Nancy Dizzy Bear call, and it's from 8 to 12 p.m. Eastern every night, and I'll say the number and PIN code twice. So the phone number is 605-562-3140, and the PIN code is 358807#. That number again is 605-562-3140, PIN code 358807#. There we go. So now, that was question 12. Hold on a second. Got that. Got that. Okay. I'm going to read this. Programs are preset. Your principal is going to be safe. And the skeleton trusts at Wells Fargo are temporary holding entities, is what I'm being told. And when you go in, the banks are not against us. That's old stinking thinking. Just relax, go in clear-headed, take a knee, ask God for calm and patience, and just be happy. If you go in with a chip on your shoulder, it's gonna stick out like a sore thumb, and you're really not gonna get the benefit of this whole thing. This whole process is for our brothers and sisters, for humanity, and so let's treat it as such. I personally feel that we're reading into this more than what we need to.
Right. Keep it simple.
The money really isn't the issue, because the rates are nosebleed, depends moments. It's going to be okay. Here is question 13.
Hey, Jerry, I just want to add to that. I was thinking about this last night. You can walk into your exchange now and totally screw up. I mean, like just be absolutely lost. And they've got it set up now so that you're going to be taken care of regardless of your skill set. I mean, granted, there are people who have more precise knowledge and have more experience, and they might do a little better than you, but it's like we say this, I think, every call. You have already won. You gotta relax. You gotta trust in it. They want you to have this money. It may be even a selfish reason on their part, because it adds to their bottom line, which is what they're looking for. Because they get, with every dollar they give us, they're getting dollars on top of that. So it's okay. You really are. I mean, we say this every call, but you really gotta believe it. You really gotta get it in your gut that this thing has become an incredible blessing. And if you have no experience, don't sweat it. Don't be nervous. Just go in and tell them, guys, I'm a beginner here. What are you offering? Let me hear what the details are, so that I can make a decision. And they'll do that. And they got things set up to take care of you because you didn't know to do it ahead of time. So just go with the flow. It's okay.
Yeah, relax. I'm still kicking myself in the pants for not taking a picture when I went to Montgomery and I pulled off that exit, and a big old sign said, "Welcome to the Relax Inn." I should have turned around and went back and took a picture and then posted it on the web page. Maybe, just maybe, somebody knows what I'm talking about. They can take a screenshot of it, maybe send it to the WINGIT call@gmail.com. You never know. I know there's some rednecks out in that country listening. Okay, question 13. Will they take any zeros off the 1 billion Zim note? Yes. We've heard 3. 6 off the trillion, 3 off the billion, and none off of the $1 million notes. Okay. Question 14. Has anyone heard if Chase is going to do a shelf trust for deposits over $5 million? I have not. So far, we've only... now the questions get a little more difficult. Question 15. If we exchange in fiat dollars, would you still buy yuan? I understand that China may not accept U.S. fiat dollars. So how would we purchase yuan, i.e. exchange into U.S., then exchange into pounds or whatever? We've heard that that has changed. Please don't blow my phone up. I'm only reading a question. If we exchange into fiat dollars, would you still buy yuan? Yes, I would. I understand that China may not accept U.S. fiat dollars. I think that has changed, hasn't it, Aiko, from what we have read? Uh-oh, he's out. So how would you purchase?
Sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, we're getting that from several sources. So it's becoming, once again, it's become an unknown as to what we're going to get hit with when we walk into the room. So everybody needs to, again, you need to have a different plan in place for each scenario. It might be fiat to fiat. It might be asset to asset. It might be asset to fiat. And you're not going to know until you get in there. But you can ask them questions. Ask the banker the questions. You know, that question you could absolutely ask that point blank, and they'll tell you the truth. Remember, the exchanges are being recorded. There's a witness in the room. They can't mislead you. They don't want to mislead you, but they can't mislead you. They get in trouble, and that's legal trouble, like go to jail trouble. So, you know, you again, you're gonna have to think on your feet. That's all there is to it.
Okay. I'm being told there is no more fiat dollars. That's the point of the reset. We'll find out for sure when we go in and they say, hello, Mr. X, how are you today? Well, I'm fine. And then they say, okay, stick your money in the Delarue machine over here. Well, sir, you've got 500,000 of XYZ currency. That looks like it's going to be 1-to-1. Or, you know, they might say, well, sir, you know, XYZ currency is now worth, you know, 6, 7, or 20-to-1. We'll know when we get there and not a moment sooner. Let's see, still on question 15. If, however, we exchange in gold-backed dollars and we are more 1-to-1, would you still purchase yuan? I am not positive, but I believe that Dizzy said that he's going to buy some, and he believes the exchange will be gold-backed. Well, okay, so who's unmuted here? Oh, that's you, Aiko.
I'm not making any noise.
No.
John,
can you mute you? No, John, please mute on your end.
I'm muted now. Apologize.
Okay.
You know, again, if you're gonna ask about information that Dizzy has put out, and you're confused, the smart thing to do is get back on Nancy's call and make sure you get, you know, even if Dizzy isn't on the call, ask the question on that call. An answer will get to you to the call. So, you know, it's hard for us to answer something that Dizzy has put out.
Okay, well, that was question 15. Question 16. Aiko, do you still think we'll exchange into fiat? Also, do you think we'll receive the 800s this week? Well, I thought we were going to get them last week, but we are not in control, so we wait.
Yeah, and for the record, I've always thought it was going to be fiat. Always. Ever since January, when the question first came up about asset-backed versus fiat-backed. I think it's fiat-backed, and I'll tell you why. because even if China announces they are gold backed, and the other 180 nations who have aligned themselves with China say they are gold backed or asset backed, the United States has not said they are asset backed. And I don't think the United States is going to say they're asset backed until everybody else says they're asset backed, because they're playing this frickin' game, which has been part of the problem all along. So my belief is that at the very worst, we're asset to fiat. And that is a conundrum, and it's only going to get answered inside that exchange.
Okay. Question 17. Jerry, thank you for the call and opportunity to ask questions. I have the following questions. What's your opinions on the Dong going first without Iraq? Not happening. One for all for one. Nobody's going without the other. Otherwise, it'd be a free-for-all and double, triple, quadruple dipping. It would be a nightmare. That was part 1 of question 17. Part 2. What's your opinions on a few currencies coming out versus all currencies coming out new with a new value? I just explained that. Number 3. Please share your opinions on fiat versus asset-backed. We've done that. Give examples of what rate we could expect under. Oh, no, we're not doing dates or rates. So, yeah, nope. There's like 6 questions to this one. We're just going to go on to the next question because we're going to go on to question 18. Question for those of us outside the USA. I'm in the UK. Will the process for us be more or less the same as the USA? I hope. I don't know. Will exchanging into the pound have any different implications from changing into dollars? Don't know. We can only talk about what we think is going to happen here. My apologies. Best UK bank to use? I only know of one, Bank of England. It's only because we hear BOE all the time. The rest of them, I don't know. Will there be separate exchange centers in the UK? I don't know. That was question 18. Question 19. My son was telling me that while he was listening on the Ray Wren call, a female came on and questioned the 100 trillion Zim note. Unfortunately, he did not hear the answer. He was paying attention to his baby. He asked me to inquire if you have any info on this currency. The currency has AA series and 3 stones on it. You're good. 2008, AA, or AB, in the trillions, billions, or millions. That was question 19. Question 20. After doing deep research, I cannot find anywhere or anything that has China attached to being a stockholder with Wells Fargo, Berkshire Hathaway, or Vanguard.
What?
I can't find anything. I can't find anywhere or anything that has China attached to being a stockholder with Wells Fargo. Berkshire Hathaway and Vanguard are the major shareholders. Washington Mutual, State Farm, etc. So please tell me who is saying China owns Wells Fargo, as my attorney couldn't find anything either. It's a good question. It's just what we're hearing. And let's see. Okay, I'm to read something, so I'm going to read it to you. Please read this as it relates to fiat currency. Hold on. 2 Corinthians 6:14. stop that. Do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. For what partnership has righteousness with lawlessness, or what fellowship has light with darkness? Do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers, for what partnership has righteousness with lawlessness, or what fellowship has light with darkness? There we go. The U.S. Republic is 100% gold backed. Okay. That was question 20. Not being able to locate, get out of there. Go on. That's not yours. Maybe the information that you're seeking about China and Wells Fargo is higher up than what you're allowed access to. Question 21. If you have a trust account at Wells Fargo under the master's trust structure, what part of the document should you present at the exchange, if any? None. If your trust and trust account is set up with Wells Fargo, you hand them your debit card and say, please put it in here. That's all I'm doing, because you've already been vetted, you've already provided the documents to Wells Fargo, and they're happy. Question 22. I am largely persuaded that the controlling interest by the elders in Wells Fargo and the management, the exchange event, and safeguarding of resulting funds will be transparent and honorable. I accept that the pervading spirit of policy and staff is that of an enlightened insistence of worldwide prosperity and redemption. I have, however, questions about the nature of investments Wells Fargo will make to generate the interest paid to those who choose the sort of investment program with them, be it structured payouts or something else. The last thing I wish is profits made from investments in companies like Monsanto, Big Farm, Big Oil. We know what we're talking about there. Yes, we do. I neither want to profit or to support banking making profit from supporting of our investment in such cabal corporations. They and their investors and executives are at the center of many of our present woes. You're exactly right. We have no control over that. Let's go back to your first part. This is a new bank. This is my personal opinion. This is a new banking system, and I believe that when they start withholding money, that these corporations that have harmed us, are harming us through food, water, and medicine, will start making changes. But that's just my personal opinion, because the quickest way to get somebody's attention is how? Get them in the pocketbook. The last part of this.
Garrett, can I speak to that for a second?
Sure.
The money that you are holding, let's assume there's a structured payout. Okay. Under that assumption, we're keeping a certain percentage of our money. We're giving that up front. If there's a structured payout, it means you have a lot of money. You can take your share of that money and make it work as an activist to influence the government that we elect, and we help get our candidates into Congress. You know, the system will work. First of all, the system's going to get cleaned out. It's going to have a colonoscopy. Like there's no like that's not right. That's not. Yeah, that is. It's going to get cleaned out like there's no, like it's never been cleaned out before. There's going to be a lot of seats in Congress up. And we will have the power to put people into those seats. And I'm not talking about being deceitful or dishonest about getting candidates elected. I'm talking about making the system work because we have the money to make it work properly. So, yeah, it's not going to happen overnight, but, you know, you look at states that are fighting Monsanto right now, like Vermont, New Hampshire. You look at countries that are fighting Monsanto. You know, we can put together legal funds and battle their lawyers just as effectively as they pay their own attorneys. So the mechanisms are going to be there for us to exercise. So don't think like, you know, a powerless middle-class person. That's not who you are anymore. You're a powerful, wealthy person, and you influence what happens in our government. That's it.
Last part of question 22 is, I would hope Wells Fargo and other banks will invest in the very pro-humanity projects and companies that they will look to us to support and possibly even suggest to them. Do we have any information on this aspect of post-RV investment? I have not seen this vital issue discussed anywhere, and yet we could be mere hours away from facing this decision. Then ICE anyone? It's a very good question. Hold on just a second. Come on. I swear whenever I move to a new area, if I can't have better internet service or a better computer, I'm just going to go back to, you know, smoke signals. Come on. There we go. Okay, question 23. It has been stated it's a process or a checklist to get the RV before it can happen. Has this list been added to push it out? No. Question 24. Jerry or Ico, do you really think there are 5,500 redemption centers fully staffed and waiting for us every day? Skeleton crew, but yes. And you know, question 25. I love this question, and I hope that when it's recorded and transcribed, it'll be in big letters. Question 25 states, why can't we get a banker to come on to answer questions or set the record straight? I believe even Tony couldn't get one to come on either. If the banks are changing to a new paradigm shift and they're here to help us, you would think they would be on the up and up and be there for us. It's just not adding up. Now, who does that make sense to? Their credibility lies in the balance. Jerry, is there anyone from the big boys to step up to the plate? After all, this big boy major league ball game now with billions in the game. Thanks. It was question 25, and I agree. It would be nice if somebody would contact me and say, come on down. Now then, let us all step back and say, what's the word I'm looking for? Aloha?
Aloha.
Aloha. Aloha.
Aloha. Art, Jerry, Aiko, aloha.
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 I just wanted to jump on real quick here, and I've been listening to parts of the call. This is Yosef, for people that don't know me. I want to give great credit to people that have been asking really good questions. All the ladies that put those together. Whoops, that's my dog bell. I want to give great credit to you guys for doing the call, because this isn't easy, right? We're dealing with the unknown, a lot of fear, a lot of anger, a lot of what ifs, a lot of if comes. So I'll provide as much perspective as I can without giving away the farm. But there is no fiat currency left in the world, as I understand it. And the reason is because the fiat currency is what caused the problem in the first place. So the entire world is now gold-backed. It's not something that you have to believe. I'm just offering it to you as a possibility. And the reason is because when you do go and exchange, you can't exchange fiat for gold. And you can't exchange a fiat U.S. note for a golden-backed Chinese note. Everything has to be on the same system. Everything has to be of a agreed-upon value for all 210 sovereign nations. They have to be using one system with a set start time and set values that have been pre-agreed. This is the point of the global currency reset and the revaluation of individual country currency. So to do half in fiat and half in gold, or certain countries have this and certain countries have that, that's not really equally yoked, as the Bible says. Light and darkness cannot exist in the same moment. One must succumb to the other, and what I'm offering is that light has overtaken darkness. It's a big concept. We're not used to that in banking. We're not used to that in our lives. We're not used to this kind of abundance. We're not used to this kind of ease. We're not used to the higher authorities being benevolent towards us. Quite the opposite. We've been fighting the benevolence of them for as long as any of us have been alive, and our parents, and our parents' parents. So we have a lot of old conditioning to work through moving forward. So there's a lot of changes that are going to be reported on soon. A lot of things happening behind the scenes right now, from the military to government to banking, a lot of wheels in motion. And they're all happening like dominoes, one by one. And they're all happening in unison. And it's all for our benefit. So by the time that you're in an off-site redemption center and getting to participate in this historic event, all the heavy lifting has been done. And all you have to do is go and receive the gift. That's it. You just have to show up. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to know anything special. They are prepared for the 17-year-old or 18-year-old who was gifted currency or heard about it online, that has never opened a checking account, and they are prepared for the 90-year-old who can't hear so good and struggles to understand the concepts that they're talking about. They are prepared for all edges of the spectrum, all ends of it, all possibilities, including the really trained and well-versed professional like yourself that are ready to rock and roll when you get in there and you know what to ask for and how to ask for it and how to structure it. They are prepared. And your moment is upon you. You are now going to take the test that you have studied for. Some have studied well. Some are getting to the studying a little bit late and they're cramming here at the end. Some haven't studied at all. But no matter where you're at on the spectrum of knowledge or wisdom as far as this event goes, you are going to be processed with great care, great love, and great abundance. And I just want to share that with everyone, that there is no reason to create drama that is not there. Save the drama for your mama. It's just not there.
Joseph, it's Aiko. Can I ask you a question?
Anything, my brother, anything.
Okay. Should we then, from what you just said, should we then just dismiss all the speculation around these astronomical rates that we've been hearing?
Well, there's two options, Aiko. You can dismiss it, or you can embrace it.
I know. but I know that question's I get that question a lot. I assume it's on the minds of a lot of people on the call.
Okay. Well, let me answer it.
If we're asset to asset, we are being roughly 1-to-1. Is that not true?
Bingo, 100%. The
Okay.
difference is that there's some countries now that have rates much higher than the value of the United States dollar, and that's a difficult concept to handle.
There you go. That's what I wanted you to
That's
speak.
the hard one to handle. That's the bigger rock in the jar. And countries that we thought were broke or poor are the exact opposite, and we're not nearly as rich or as wonderful as we thought, as it turns out, on the new system.
Okay.
And that's the adjustment that everybody's going to have to make. So in country, yes, it'll be 1-to-1, but when you travel outside of the country, you'll have a very different experience.
Good. So I hope everybody's hearing this and gets it. That's where the confusion comes in, because we always think in U.S.-centric logic, and it's not about the USA anymore.
Well, we're a part of the world, right? We're a financial, military, economic, educational. We make stuff, we develop stuff. I mean, we're a significant force in the world, but we're now appropriately valued in relationship to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And we're appropriately balanced and valued in relationship to all countries at a benchmark standard of both in terms of unitary value. We're not irrelevant. We don't suddenly disappear. I mean, we're a very proud and glorious nation. We have a lot to offer, but we might have been overvalued. And we're being brought back to a revaluation of truth versus where we were at. And that's not just the United States, that's every country. Either they're gone up or gone down. But few had stayed stagnant to what their true value was in relationship to what their reported value was.
Hey, Joseph, this is Art. I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Art.
A few minutes ago, a question was brought up to Jerry. What percentage does Wells Fargo own of any of these other banks? What is the answer to that question?
Well, it's a good question. HSBC, same way. Bank of China. There's several banks around the world that are kind of big fishes in now the pond. Deutsche Bank is no longer in that pond. Bank of America is no longer in that pond. You've got a lot of major players that are transitioning their importance and revaluing what their asset holdings and capital holdings are. So that's all part of the reset. I would just offer you this, Art, in answer to your question, not so much that Wells Fargo owns the world or owns all these banks. I just think that all banks that are Basel or Basel III compliant are now, how do I phrase it? They are now part of a new system that values reality instead of fantasy, that values tangible assets versus intangible assets. And every bank has been appropriately revalued. And banks that are that were way overvalued, if they can't become compliant with the new standards, they default. And banks that were undervalued now have a heightened place in the new financial system, and none bigger than Wells Fargo in the United States. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I guess
or
so.
Did I dance around it?
A lot of people kept saying, well, gee whiz, China owns 68% of Wells Fargo, or China owns this, and nobody ever really came up with an accurate percentage, I don't think, as to who owns what or what banks China does completely control or partially control.
Right.
That's always a question. That's why people ask that question.
Right, and majority shareholder stocks are sometimes hard to discover. But I will just say this, the overriding concept here is that he who has the gold makes the golden rule.
Mm-hmm.
So whomever owns Wells Fargo, HSBC, Citibank, Chase, in essence, now has the gold, and things are being reset to a sanity around a metal asset backing currency versus currency just being printed and derivatized for no apparent reason other than gain and profit.
Mm-hmm. Are all derivatives gone now and written off by all
Yes,
these banks?
yeah.
Oh.
Well, there's still the derivative concept in its most pure benevolent form isn't necessarily a bad thing. It diversifies risk at a macro level, at a sovereign level, and thus is kind of broken up and distributed out, and that exposure is, it's insurance is what it is against default of countries or companies or whatever. So it's not, the insurance concept isn't going away, and you got to look at derivatives, it's just really expensive and fancy. Sure. In essence, it's reassurance really against existing insurance. But that got so out of control, and so yes, to answer your question, derivatives at a dangerous or toxic level or regulation has been thrown out. You can't leverage things 9, 10, 11, 12, 20 times because nobody ever wants to pay the piper in terms of the collateral that has to be absorbed when debts are not paid back.
Okay, that seems to be a major question on all calls I listen to, especially the open mic call. It gets asked all the time.
Right. That was settled. Most of the larger derivatives were settled years ago. But it doesn't mean that derivatives as a concept completely goes away either. Mm-hmm. Because there is some mathematical relevance to it.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Jerry?
Well, yeah, but you may not be able to answer this one, or you might feel that we might defer that another time. So,
well, go ahead and ask it. I'll let you know what I can and can't answer.
So it would be nice if some banker would come on here from Wells Fargo and say, "I got information on the skeleton trusts."
Well, let us put it in terms of if you were redeeming 16 to 20 million people in a 3-week period, you would probably expect the majority of those people not to understand the concept of principal or asset protection at the depth and the scope of what it is that they're being given. So think of giving inheritance to a 20-year-old that has no, that's parting at spring break and they're given $100 million. Chances are they don't understand trust law.
In reality, the skeleton trust is actually for our benefit. They're not trying to keep us from our monies. They're trying to protect us so that we gain an understanding about it and then yet a better responsibility how to use it.
Correct. It's literally just a temporary holding entity so that you can get your feet on the ground and you come out of the shock of the abundance of the gift. I promise you, as God is my witness, some people are going to have a hard time driving home after the redemption because their head's going to be in the clouds. So yes, that's why the temporary skeleton holding trusts are in place, simply to allow your subconscious and your conscious to merge again so that you can go out and find lawyers and accountants and investment people who can help you to give you time to build a team, a financial team to manage your new assets. It's inheritance, guys. It's a gift. It's a gift. And they're giving you this gift with the understanding you don't quite understand what it is that you're getting because they're not talking to you. The bankers aren't laying out all what's coming. They've had to keep it very secret so that the mass of population wouldn't uprise. It's like yelling fire in a crowded theater if you start throwing out the real rate, right? This money will find its way into every home in America. Not everybody's going to be redeeming currency, but one way, shape, or form, this blessing, this helicopter drop of gold-backed liquidity in the United States will find its way throughout the entire population over time. We just happen to be on the front edge of it in terms of the currency.
It's just correct. Go ahead, Art.
Yeah, I got another. Well, for instance, I've got an LLC. I intend to exchange into the LLC with an EIN number, and I know Jerry has a trust. And so if we do that, we don't need a skeleton trust anyway, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
But Art, what they know is 95% of you have never even broached that concept.
Mm-hmm. You
and
got it.
not that people on the call haven't. I'm not trying to diminish your audience, Jerry. What I'm just trying to say is, a very small percentage of the people are going to be redeeming in the first week. The majority of people will come after. And so they have to prepare for somebody that has never listened to a call or hasn't studied this or was just given them a Zim note by their aunt or their uncle, their brother, their sister, their mother, their father. They have to be ready for that person, hence the skeleton trust. If you have an existing trust, just bring it. You can put it right in there. If you have an LLC or a company, just bring it. But if you don't, they will have people there to help set you up and structure you correctly initially. And then the beauty of a revocable trust is you can always change it.
That's right. See, they've got some people in these other calls. Well, again, that one other call. You're really giving advice. I won't touch that with a 10-foot pole. You better make sure you're the person who's in charge of it. You don't know bank charge your money. So
and we're not licensed professionals. We're men of business. We've done things before. We've opened trusts. We've opened LLCs and 501c3s. I have, but S corps, whatever the entity is. But the way you got to look at a skeleton trust is like a starter check. It just kind of gets you going. It's not the real stuff yet. You'll have to go and establish the real stuff actually. Or they can do it there with you too. They can actually establish something deeper than a skeleton trust as well. But at a minimum, they want everybody into a trust situation specifically with the Zen because it's so high.
Mm-hmm.
Astronomical?
No comment. Let's put it this way with the Zen. It's either all or nothing. It's either a big, bluster or it's beyond your imagination.
Well, I have a true story to tell you. So occasionally I have a little extra cash and I go to see my massage lady who I met at the gym. Mm-hmm. Wonderful lady. I think everybody ought to get them. I didn't start getting massages till I was, 2 years ago. So I go over to her house, which is her studio, and I'm taking my phone off and setting it to the side, my headset, and I happen to look up on top of her little desk or her cubby hole there, and lo and behold, what do I see laying there? A 100 trillion Zim note. It's just laying there. And right next to it is a $1 million, like same size as U.S. money, but like Monopoly money. I picked the Zim note up and I hold it at her and I said, "Who gave you this?" Because I was happy. I'm going, "Who gave you this?" She goes, "You're so excited. What was that? What?" I said, "Where did you get this at?" She goes, "One of my clients. They gave it to me. Said that they had something better than a $1 million." And they just gave it to me. I said, "Do me a favor. Put that in your safe." "You do have a safe, don't you?" "Yeah." I said, "Put it in a fireproof safe, and I'll come back and I'll see you in a little while." Mm-hmm. She goes, "Why?" I said, "Because you have no idea what you're holding." Right. And she still doesn't. Right. I haven't told her. I have not told her.
And again, this currency exchange process, this isn't everybody's destiny. Not everybody's supposed to connect to this. And if you're on this call or you're transcribing or you're reading this on notes, clearly, maybe you've been attracted to this spiritually so that you can be a steward of the blessing after your appointment. Again, I've always preached transition over transaction. And I'll preach it again. It's just, I think we are involved in a spiritual event that has a banking transaction certainly involved in it, and then it's important that we prepare our souls as much as our knowledge of finance prior to the event, so that when we do receive the gift and we understand what we've been given, that we can not be in a state of shock or a state of denial or a state of struggling for worthiness, in order to work with it and get it out to everyday people for blessing and mercy. And I just think that's where we're all at. We've all been kind of compiled. The angels have all kind of pointed our eyes and our hearts in this direction, and here we all sit together as a community. You know, we don't know each other necessarily. We don't necessarily go have coffee together, but I think we're all connected by something, some calling much greater than ourselves, and we're struggling to understand exactly what that is from a banking perspective, certainly, and a money perspective. But I think moving forward, the fellowship of such calls like yourself, Jerry, and anybody that has a really kind of sincere call should probably keep it going, so that there's a place to connect to after the fact, because you know, you go into your family dinner in a week after this is over, guys, and you're still going to be, I mean, your family's going to still look at you like you're the same old, and you're a billionaire or a trillionaire or more. They're not going to know. They're not going to know before the fact. They're not going to know after the fact.
Would
and
you like
to take? It's real important we don't get righteous and pummel people for not knowing or not believing in us. It's real important that we not only are generous and not vindictive, but also we bless those people that doubted us the most, and we wash their feet, and we make sure that they get something without any vindication, without any angst, without any malice. It's just, here you go. This was kept from humanity, and it's yours to do with as you will.
We got about 10 minutes left. Can you hang around long enough to take maybe one
Sure.
or two callers?
Sure.
Oh, Pavarotti. Yo, Pavarotti.
How you doing? Hello. Can you hear me?
Go ahead. Yes, sir.
I always feel like that guy in Verizon when I say that. Can you hear me? I have a question for you here, and basically I can get right to the chase if you don't have a lot of time. And this could be for anybody, and Joseph might be able to answer this the best. There's no trigger for this for us. This is just the mechanical whole thing, meaning that the architects have laid out a plan, and they have a checklist, kind of like going shopping, and I get that we're the next on the list, but we're a little bit more complicated. We're not like buying a loaf of bread. We're like making a wedding cake or something. So would you say that would be pretty right?
Everything except the complicated part. I think it's complicated in terms of all the different tentacles that go into this, areas that have to be refined, reformed, recalibrated. But for us, it's a really simple process. We call a number, we go in to an address, we show our ID, we tell them what we're looking to accomplish in our lives for projects, humanitarian, job creation. We agree upon a number. We agree upon some investment of that number, of that principle. We get our accounts, we get our cashier's check, and we leave.
I guess I meant the difficult process in the being that, you know, we've been ready for quite a while, and it's been like any minute, any moment, and I kept waiting to see, was it Iraq? You know, was it to stop selling currency?
Right.
You know, was it the first of the month, the 15th of the month? Meaning that to get to the level for us to go in. I imagine, I've been listening to you for a while, and bless you. Thank you so much, because you, Iko, Artie, and Jerry bring a lot of calm to this, because it's something, you know, we've never experienced before, and we just don't know
Sure.
with all the twists and turns what's going to happen. And I'm ready to get out there and start helping people. Every time I hear about people losing their house and all that stuff, I'm ready. Right. But I just, I meant there's no trigger. Iraq has been ready.
Well, think about a big party that you've been invited to. You don't do any of the planning, right? You don't pick the cake out. You don't pick the china. You don't pick the table dressings. You don't pick the band. You just kind of show up.
Right.
You eat. You talk to some people. You listen to some music, and you leave. That's what the redemption is. It's basically we get to go to the party, have our couple hours, and then it's over. Everything has been set up for us. By the time we get there, there's no drama.
So we go to the party soon?
Probably sooner than you're imagining. Yeah.
Good.
Very
good. Are you gonna show up? Yes. Thank you very much.
Okay. God bless you. Peace.
God bless you too. Thank you very much. Bye. I'll move.
Last question of the day. Houston, can you hear me now? 281. Come on down.
Well, good afternoon, everybody.
Howdy.
And aloha.
Aloha, my brother.
So I just got back from the Philippines. We had 3 cities there that we did evangelistic outreaches in. We had over 4,500 people that made decisions for Christ. We were feeding about 5,000 people, and it was just a lot of great things. And so I'm just looking forward to what we're going to be able to do after this thing goes through, and because we're going to be able to do a whole lot more. But it was awesome. So I just want to kind of give you guys a report on that. And then I have a friend of mine who works in Iraq. He's an attorney. Now, he doesn't work in any type of currency thing, but he works with a lot of, the high-end people over there and that kind of thing. And I was talking with him this morning, and he had said something took place in Baghdad either yesterday or the day before. I'm not completely sure of all of the information on that, but I was just wondering if that had any significance and any hold-up in our blessing coming through here.
I don't think so. Iraq plays a very small piece in it. It used to be about Iraq. Now Iran seems to be the linchpin, but it's a global thing. So call Iraq a theater play. How's that?
Yeah, just a smoke screen. Okay.
Yes.
That's what
all right.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha. Thanks, man. Blessings on you guys, and y'all have a wonderful day.
Thank you, sir. So that being said, Joseph, thank you for coming in. Pastor is not here, so I've got to send everybody on out with another redneck send-off. Lord, thank you for blessing everybody that's been listening. Lay your hand on their heart. Give them peace. Give them understanding about what's coming and how to deal with it. In Jesus Christ's name, amen.
Hallelujah and amen.
Amen.
Great job, guys. Great run.
See you later, Jerry.
Thank you. Say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye. Good night, Gracie.
Good night, Tom.
The conference is now completed. Goodbye.